longer than I should. I don't give a fuck because I am fired up and I'm excited and I'm feeling really, really good about changing the name of the show because I said, screw it. I'm changing the name of the show. By the way, I'm Frank the Unicorn.
I'm Audrey.
And we're here doing the Frank the Unicorn radio program. It's the reboot.
The reboot.
Of the classic podcast that I did previous. And this is the show that it's the only podcast hosted by a puppet. Okay. That's also a unicorn.
Nice.
Who also has a puppet of himself who is also a unicorn.
Nice.
No, I've been drinking Mountain Dew energy drinks. Okay.
I'm scared right now.
Don't be afraid.
You can make your own YouTube of chugs.
Well, no. No, but we are going to start YouTubing this show. So not only will we have the old show, for people who are unaware, Frank the Unicorn radio program was my first podcast, and it was one that I did back starting in 2010.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was really, really old school. That show was a live show every week for 2 hours. Host Beans. Hopefully I can convince him to come back and make a couple of appearances and whatnot. Yes. We had a whole bunch of crazy characters on that show. It was really, really fun. And it ended and moved on, and it's been a decade, and that's about enough time that's gone by to where I think we can just reboot the show. So I figured we did the Shaper Art podcast last week.
Yep.
To read Haiku Pop, to do haiku stuff.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, fuck it, man. Why am I not just going to go back and do what worked for me before?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It already worked before. This was the thing that I loved doing. I loved this show more than any other. Yeah. Granted, it's a very different situation, but, the characters, the tone, all of it. So, yeah, we're back. So Frank's back. We're not going to have exactly the same segments that we had last time, because again, even though it's a reboot and everything is old is new again, we're still going to change up a little bit, because the best reboots and remakes, which we of course typically make fun of, are the ones that have some new elements, right?
True.
But still keep the spirit of
what's old is new, what's new is old.
Right. So we're going to start with Haiku Pop. So
is anything really ever new though?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I feel like I could make an argument that everything's already been done once.
Not everything. I'm sure you could think of something that hasn't been done once.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know. Get me a goat, a Michael Myers mask, a shovel, a toilet, and a tennis ball, and I'm sure we could figure out something to do with all that. That has never been done before, or at least I hope to God or dog or whatever that it hasn't been done before, but I imagine it has.
I mean, so maybe then
not everything.
Everything is new then. I feel like I could make an argument for everything being new.
No.
I'm
sure. No, I don't think everything is new. I guess it kind of depends. This could go into a really weird.
This is a weird.
Yeah, you're getting all existential on me, and we could go and start talking about the multiverse and all, and it's like, you know what? It's a little early for that.
It's a little late for that.
It's a little both of that. We're 4 minutes in, and you're getting all philosophical.
I didn't mean to.
You know what it is?
It's
because
a long day.
Well, you know what it is? It's two things. One, it's because I am wearing the Billy Ocean shirt. True. Because I always wear the Billy Ocean shirt now.
I love Billy Ocean.
Even on we have another podcast we do. It's your podcast.
Right. Not Another Real Estate Podcast.
Yes. Not Another Real Estate Podcast at notanotherrealestatepodcast.com. Mm-hmm. If you're listening to this show, you can access it by either using this show link, which is franktheunicorn.com, or
franktheunicorn.com.
You can go to shaperart.com and click on the podcast link. So, first things first. Here's why you're getting existential so quick. Because we have some haiku to talk about. We're gonna do some haiku on the show.
I love
and
I love your book.
Yes, thank you. And
your book,
which
book?
Is
called
which
Haiku Pop.
Haiku Pop. Which book?
Haiku Pop.
I know, but there's 6 books.
I know. I'm saying I like Haiku Pop.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I also like the vagina book.
I know.
Next time we'll read all about.
We'll do vagina jokes next time.
Okay.
Matter of fact, if you want to do vagina jokes, I think there's a copy of the book right there. You could just.
Okay.
Oh, I fooled you. It's not. You'll have to go to the library.
Okay.
It's in the hallway.
Nah, we'll just do haiku. We'll do vaginas.
We'll do
next
haiku because you're too lazy to get off the couch to get the book to read. All right, that's fine. It's fine. It's no problem. But anyway, the reason you're getting existential is because you said last week we did Star Wars haiku, and you mentioned Swayze, and so that was my intention.
Swayze.
Was we've got 2 sets of haiku, and we're going to do Swayze first.
Okay, good.
Because here's the deal: he was the inspiration for this whole fucking thing. Not the whole show, but the Haiku Pop.
He was the inspiration for everything, everywhere.
No, well, maybe. Swayze on the horse in the SNL skit, with Hans and Franz. Why is he having these new feelings? Look at Patrick's buttocks. Yes. Swayze
with Chris Farley dancing for Chippendales.
There's a lot of controversy now about that skit.
Really?
Yeah, and
really?
Yes, because.
I love that skit.
Well, now the guys who were on SNL at the time and Bob Odenkirk who wrote the skit or had or had something to do with it. I think he wrote it. But now, they're coming back saying they feel like crap about it because they feel like they were it was basically like watch the fat guy dance and it was really hurtful to Chris Farley and it was really
hurtful,
demeaning and everything.
I don't think it was hurtful or demeaning.
Well, I don't know how Chris Farley felt about it because I never had the honor of meeting him. Ever.
He was awesome.
And honestly, if I ever had the opportunity to meet him, I don't think I would have asked him about that skit, or at least not that part of it.
No, I would have been like, "You're awesome, man."
Yeah, I just would have been in awe of him.
He's one of the funniest.
Oh, God!
If I had to rank funny people on SNL, he'd be my top 10.
I love Farley, and he was so great because it didn't matter what he was doing in a skit. He could literally just be standing there, and he's fucking hilarious. There's a whole skit they did about with the whole Tanya Harding thing, and he's just standing in the background, okay? And
as the river.
Well, no, he's just standing in the background
because the river.
He's the guy. He was playing the guy that hit Nancy Kerrigan with the pipe or whatever. But he doesn't have any lines in the skit. He literally is just standing there, and he's the funniest part of the whole skit. He steals the whole thing without saying anything.
I might have to go back and watch that.
Oh God, it's so worth it. But they talk about how they feel like it was demeaning to him, and I'm with you. I always had that as one of the funniest, best SNL skits of all time. Like in my top 3. Like ever since I saw it the first time when I was in high school and it came on, and this was the height of my desire to be on the show.
Yeah.
Right. With this cast, with Farley and Spade and Chris Rock and Adam Sandler and Mike Myers and Phil Hartman. I mean, it's like
Dana Carvey.
Yeah, just the list goes on and on of brilliance, and Farley stood out from all these guys, and in this skit especially. And the thing I always took away from it was, look at how athletic he is. Look at how beautifully he does actually dance in the skit. He is not a trained dancer. He's just supposed to be the big fat funny guy. And yet, here he is with let's say a week maybe of rehearsal time. And he's keeping up with a guy who's been dancing his whole life, whose mother owns a dance studio. I mean, Patrick Swayze grew up in a dance studio. He's a brilliant, beautiful dancer. And here's Farley going beat for beat with him.
I mean, I don't know.
It was incredible.
I don't know if I would say that it was incredible. But
go back and watch it again with the commitment that he makes to it. Number one, and that's always the number one thing with Farley is when he goes for it, he goes 1,000,000%. He goes all in every time. He doesn't leave anything on the table, right? So one is how much he goes for it, right? But again, I'm telling you, man, think about it. Look at what this guy's doing, and look at how he's moving and how he's dancing. And people, for a guy that size. Really, for anyone's size, he was doing awesome, but especially for a dude his size. So I never looked at it in a negative way or thought it was funny because it was like, oh, fat guy dancing. I was always like, look how impressive this is. Comedy's about subverting expectations.
I guess.
And seeing him move that way and dance that way is a complete subversion of all expectations. And that's why, to me, that skit was funny. Not because I was trying to goof on Farley or hurt anyone's feelings.
No, but he was the token fat guy. He knew it. He was comfortable with it.
Yeah. But he was so much more than that.
I totally agree.
And that's why, honestly, I think that's why now we look back and his most poignant moments on that show are just when he was doing the Chris Farley show. right? Do you remember that, where he would just sit down with a celebrity and he would always be kind of overwhelmed and shy about it? Like, he had Paul McCartney on and he's like, you were in the Beatles. That was awesome. Like, and he was just so lovable and lovable.
So great. Okay, I've got a new idea for your next Haiku Pop book.
Okay.
You write a section devoted for Chris
I
Farley.
absolutely will. I'll write some for next week. That's a great tribute. He deserves that, man. I'm ashamed that I haven't written haiku for Chris Farley. And he's such a power. Think about it. He's so powerful. As a comic and a presence, that here we are all these years later.
I mean, it's been 30 years.
He died in 1997. And
sheesh, I'm old.
Yeah, but here we are. We had no intention to really talk about him. We were talking about Patrick Swayze, and the whole conversation for the last however many minutes has been all about Chris Farley. So that's amazing. All right,
love Farley.
I love Farley too.
But
let's go back
to Swayze, who I love even more.
Let's go back to Let's talk to Swayze, because let's get ready to pop. This is Haiku Pop, right?
Papa.
So we're gonna do Haiku. Really?
Papa.
Are you on Community?
Pop. No, I'm not.
Jesus. All right. Here we go. These are Haiku Pop. Patrick Swayze. Okay. To Wong Fu. Thank you. You were cool with dudes as chicks way back in the day.
I never really liked Tu Wong Fu, though.
I liked the movie. I always thought it was great, man. I thought it was real cute.
I was like, meh.
And I thought it was really cool to see all those guys, like Leguizamo and Wesley Snipes, and especially Swayze.
I get it now, like in hindsight, but I'm still like, meh. Other movies are better.
Okay. Swayze, I agree. It's not my favorite Patrick Swayze movie by any stretch, but I still love it. Yeah. All right. Swayze the Legend. The feather of your mullet inspires us all.
Oh, I like that one.
All right. Patrick Swayze he's like the only guy that could get away with looking good with a mullet.
I mean,
honestly.
I'm trying to think.
He had a mane like a lion.
Who else?
Look at him in Roadhouse. Look at his hair in Roadhouse. Oh my God.
I do love Roadhouse.
Gorgeous. That mane, that hair in Roadhouse is inspirational.
It's interesting, like,
it's the greatest hair of the 80s. That is the 80s hairstyle.
When I was a kid, like, I didn't quite understand why all the women loved him and all the men loved him, but now as a woman, I'm like, damn, he fine. And now I get it.
Took you that long?
Took me 40 years, man.
Jesus. Okay.
But now I get it.
Okay.
Because he's so masculine, but at the same time he dances. He fights bad guys, and then he dances.
His confidence is what makes him so masculine. His confidence to embrace who he is and to dance and to have the feathered mullet and do ballet spin kicks and rip dudes' throats out. That's what makes Swayze the legend that he is. We must do the lift. Put baby in the corner, not on Swayze's watch.
Yes.
He also said that was the stupidest line he ever said in the film.
I totally agree.
It's his most famous one, though, which is fantastic.
When I watched this movie with the boyfriend a few weeks ago, he was like, "Oh, I finally get the line now."
Oh, for God's sakes. All right. My favorite Patrick Swayze line, I love No One Puts Baby in the Corner. But I got to say, man, I think Roadhouse has just an impeccable list of quotable Patrick Swayze lines.
True.
The greatest of all is, nobody wins a fight. Like, come on, right?
So
all right.
80s.
This is what?
So 80s.
The philosophy of Dalton, right there, summed up. One beautiful sentence. Perfectly distills the character, which is awesome because he's a famous bouncer, and whoever knew who knew bouncers were famous? But evidently they were, because not only was Patrick Swayze famous in that movie, another of our favorites, who I'm gonna have, who's now in a little bit of trouble, but I still love him and I have to write haiku about him too, is Sam Elliott.
Meh.
Sam Elliott, come on.
Meh.
I want you to picture in your mind an Old West cowboy and try not to see Sam Elliott.
I mean,
fail. You saw Sam Elliott.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying that Sam Elliott's like not a great actor.
He's awesome.
But I would not put him in the same category as Chris Farley and Patrick Swayze. No.
No, but he deserves his own spot.
You can write cowboy haikus. Yeah, he didn't like that homosexual dog crap movie. And he voiced it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have a problem with it.
I don't either.
I love all the homosexuals. I'm just saying Sam Elliott can say whatever he wants.
Yes, he can, and evidently he will. Okay.
Sorry.
So here we go. Patrick Swayze. Swayze, sweet Swayze, your spin kicks define beauty, how we see violence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Swayze. All right. So because I always thought that was hilarious, like in Roadhouse, the way he's fighting in Roadhouse.
And then he spin kicks.
He's doing ballet.
I know.
He's literally dance fighting these guys. Okay.
It's because he's Swayze. He can do whatever he wants.
And really, sadly enough, probably his line in the movie is only the third most famous line in the movie. Right? It's got to be behind, and that's another good segment we do. Most famous lines for whatever film, right?
I like that.
Rank like top 5 famous lines for whatever movie.
You dirty rat.
That would be tough though, because most movies are not that quotable. Right? It's like special movies are very quotable. Like Roadhouse is a very quotable movie.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction is a very quotable movie. The Godfather is a very quotable movie. Like great movies, great performances are very quotable.
Step Brothers.
Or really shitty bad movies with really terrible performances are often also very quotable. The Room is an extremely quotable film.
Showgirls.
Showgirls is another one. Yes.
We could do a Showgirls episode.
Well, I talked about this before. I had this idea to do a podcast called the Recast Podcast. Now, someone else is going to fucking steal this idea, and that's fine. But the Recast Podcast, where we take a script, a film script, and we redo that film with a recast. So we just recast it with new parts and read it as a radio drama with those new actors. So we
could totally do this with Showgirls.
We could do this.
We are going to do
we
this
can do a
Showgirls.
segment for that, and what we could do is like a scene per show, and then edit it all together at the end and make it one big production, right? So there you go. We'll start adding in the Recast Podcast segment. Okay, so we're developing the show as we're going, which I'm sure is entertaining for the audience who probably tuned in accidentally. But then also expected to probably hear haiku. So I'm going to get back into more haiku.
Haikus.
Back on track. Okay, here we go.
Back on track.
So we're going to kind of tie in the streaming of consciousness segment with this one.
Why did I have to do streaming of consciousness?
Streaming of consciousness is just my fun way to talk about what is I'm watching on streaming, what's on the streaming services.
Okay, now I get it.
I
was thinking back to my...
To when you were ripping on China at the end of our real estate podcast?
Screw China.
Dude.
Okay.
Not on my show, baby.
Okay, we're editing that out.
No, we're not. We don't edit I don't edit anything. I'm too lazy.
Okay. Well.
Besides, it's more fun if people get to hear the whole conversation.
True.
You know?
True.
And you can tell when people edit shit out, and it sucks. Whatever. Anyway, it does. It sucks.
Back to haiku.
Be real.
All right. To haiku.
Yeah, back to haiku. So one of the things I wanted to do on the streaming services, I like to check to see what is leaving the streaming service, right? So what's leaving so I can watch it before it's gone, blah, 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 whatever.
Wait, what's leaving Netflix?
Well,
I feel like there was
I don't know. I was going to talk about Tubi. Once again, if you were prepared for this show too.
The other guys is leaving Netflix, I believe. It's it's another one of my faves.
Okay.
But really, I like anything Will Ferrell. You can make some haiku about Will Ferrell. I love him.
I love how you're just giving me assignments. You're running a lot. You have a pretty significant influence in my life without realizing it. But now you've decided on my travel schedule for the year and the places that I have to go visit, including Boise, fucking Idaho.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun in Boise with the potatoes.
You know what we should do? We should do GoPro in Boise.
Oh, God.
That way people can see wherever we go, whatever we do.
Look, if you're willing to pay for the GoPros, yeah, I'll wear a GoPro all day if you want. If you buy me a GoPro, I will literally GoPro whatever you want me to do. I'll just put it on and record whatever.
Are we doing a handshake? Pinky promise.
Pinky swear, man. Right there, it's official. You guys heard it. You didn't see it, but you heard it. All right. It counts. We're
going to Boise.
Yeah, we're going to Boise, Idaho.
Hold on, really quick. Have you ever seen Yes Man with Jim Carrey?
Yes.
And then they just randomly wind up. Where did they wind up? Iowa?
I don't know. I saw that movie once and didn't particularly care for it. Okay. You've given me now. You've assigned me like half the chapters of my next book, which
Will Ferrell.
Will
Chris
Ferrell,
Farley.
Chris Farley, Sam Elliott. Yeah, all right. And probably Boise, Idaho, if we end up there.
Oh, Boise.
Because I can't visit the place and
How
then
I
not
love your potatoes.
write about it. Okay. Are you trying to do haiku right now?
Okay.
Because you were way
4,
off.
5, 4?
No, 575.
575.
Yeah.
Oh, Boise. How I love.
No. Oh, Boise. There's 3 syllables.
Oh, Boise. How I love your potatoes. Oh, yeah. We're coming back soon.
That's only 4 on the last one.
Oh, sorry.
It's not as easy to do a haiku as you would think, right?
No.
And to make it meaningful. So, all right, here's the deal. Not that I'm putting you down, but the haikus are kind of my deal.
I agree.
It's kind of my thing.
It's your thing.
Kind of my thing. I'm trying to become the world's most famous haiku poet.
You are.
I really am not. I want to become the America's most famous living haiku poet. Let's start with that.
I don't know any haiku poets.
You know one.
I mean,
this is how unfamous I am, is that you know me and you still don't think you know a haiku poet.
No, what I'm saying is, other than you, I don't
here's
know any haiku
here's
poets.
the qualifier.
Other than you,
yes,
I know zero haiku poets.
I'm coming across really bad here. All
Wait,
right, it doesn't matter.
Was Confucius a haiku poet?
No.
Wasn't there like a famous Japanese?
There's a ton of them. And thanks for putting me on the spot. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, so combining the 2 segments, I have been heavily watching Dean Cameron movies on Tubi. I love Tubi. Tubi's one of my favorite streaming services because it's free.
Who's Dean Cameron?
And they have a ton of great content, including tons of B movies and really obscure stuff that you're not going to find
Tubi
other
is
places.
great. I feel like years ago I
Who
watched
is Dean Cameron? Only one of the greatest actors of the entire 1980s and 90s. You would know him best from his role playing Chainsaw in the movie Summer School with Mark. What's his name? Mark Harmon. With Mark Harmon.
I don't know this movie.
Really? It was like one of Mark Harmon's first big movies. It was a comedy.
Who's Mark Harmon?
Really? Mark Harmon. It's been on NCIS for forever.
Now I
right?
remember.
He was like a big movie star at one point in time. Was the sexiest man alive. Played Ted Bundy in The Intimate Stranger, 1986.
You know who else played Ted Bundy recently? Zac Efron.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mark Harmon was better.
I don't know.
All due respect.
I feel like we could debate.
Mark Harmon was even a college football player, man.
Did you see Zac Efron has abs?
Whoop-de-freaking-do.
I'm just saying, you might have to watch the one.
I have them too. So do you. Maybe they're not defined and cut up and, oily and sexy like all...
I think that you should watch the Zac Efron Ted Bundy thing.
No.
Okay.
I know the story of Ted Bundy and I wish I didn't.
So interestingly enough, the only things that I watched on Tubi when I was like into it a few years ago were like serial killer things.
Of course, because that's what all women watch.
Okay.
It's what all ladies secretly watch. Investigation Discovery, I'm sure that like 95% of that audience is female and 5% is the husbands or boyfriends forced to watch.
I don't know.
I'm telling
I feel like a lot of guys like true crime stuff.
True crime is huge with the ladies.
I watched some kind of like BTK thing on, what was I on? Netflix yesterday? I don't know.
Oh my God. All right.
Okay, I've got another idea for another podcast episode, Serial Killers, where we talk about Ted Bundy. And
maybe we discuss this after the show, where I'm trying to honor Dean Cameron, who's one of my favorite actors.
But really quick, what's that
from back in the day?
That you really like? That was.
I don't like any serial killers.
No, the one with the numbers.
Okay, I do not like any serial killers. Let me just be clear about that.
Wait.
I have a heavy interest in a case, but I do not like.
Wait, what's the case though?
The Zodiac.
Oh, the Zodiac.
The Zodiac Killer.
We do an episode for Zodiac. Okay, next, moving on.
I'm so glad I decided to redo my show.
Dean Cameron.
I'm trying to... Jesus. I'm trying to talk about Dean Cameron, and he's getting mixed in with fucking Ted Bundy and the BTK goddamn Zodiac Killer. I apologize to you, Dean Cameron. You are now on the list with the state of Hawaii, the state of Kansas, the state of Idaho, the state of Kentucky, the entire nation of China, and Dean Cameron. These are all the people that I'm going to have to personally apologize to based on things that have been said on the podcast, this podcast, or our real estate podcast. This is the position I'm in. And oh, by the way, it's the first fucking show that we're doing since we changed the name and started Frank the Unicorn again. This is crazy. Oh my God.
Frank.
It's going to be a lot easier if I just take Dean Cameron with me and we go to Hawaii and Kansas and Idaho and Kentucky and China. And I just apologize to everyone all at one time. And I'm a huge fan of Dean Cameron. Dean Cameron was an actor, comic actor, still is a comic actor. He was fantastic. He did a bunch of like cheesy direct-to-video comedies, low-budget sort of comedies. They're always very fun. He's usually the fun guy, the nice guy, the good guy. He's kind of goofy and silly. Miracle Beach, which is a movie he actually hates, but he was in that. He played the pizza man in Men at Work, which is the Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez classic. Ski School, he was in Ski School. That's totally a classic. He was in, and the movie we're going to talk about today, which is called Rockula. Rockula. And yes, so I'm gonna do Rockula Haiku in honor of Dean Cameron. No. I don't need another giant band coming after me for a copyright strike. I already fucking ruined that in the first minute of the show.
It's fine.
All right. Yeah, but Queen is not nearly as cool about that shit as Oingo Boingo. So, and yeah.
It would be awesome if Queen was like, yo, we'd be in the news. Then the podcast would get like tons of hits.
And I would be so broke because Queen would sue me into poverty. Even worse poverty than I'm already in.
No,
I don't even have running water right now, and Queen would make my life worse. Okay?
That's my fault.
All right.
So
here we go. We're going to do Rockula Haiku. Here we go. All right. Hello, Rockula, a rock and roll vampire who is a virgin. Each 22 years, a pirate kills his woman with a pig's leg bone. Defeat the pirate with your rock and roll music, and as Rapula, one more thing to note, the villain, Thomas Dolby, blinded by science. So I've just given you a recap of the entire movie of Rockula in like 4 haiku.
Cool.
So the whole point of the show, or the whole point of the movie is,
he's a virgin vampire.
He's a vampire. He's a virgin. The reason why is because the love of his life, who he's supposed to be betrothed to, and so on and so forth, is murdered by a pirate with a sequined peg leg, and he kills her with a ham bone. Okay, so it's like a pig's leg bone, right?
Ew.
And in the movie, it's really comical. It's really comically done. It looks like something out of the Flintstones.
So this is supposed to be a comedy.
It's absolutely a comedy, and
it's not a drama.
No, God, no. It's very Rockula the drama, really? Seriously? Come on. It's not a Turkish film, okay? No, of course it's a comedy, and it's quite a good comedy actually. It's quite fun to watch. It's really fun. It's funny. It's got Dean Cameron. Okay, he's fantastic. He's great and everything. So you got Dean Cameron. Tony Basil plays his mom, and she looks fantastic in the movie.
Tony Basil.
Basil, the chick that sang Mickey. Okay,
yeah,
right. And she has a dance number and a song in the movie, and she's of course she's awesome. She's all-time great dancer, so that's cool. And Bo Diddley is in his band, so the music Bo Diddley is
strumming along.
Yeah, he's playing the guitar. Yeah, so it's awesome. Okay, songs are a little cheesy, but they're really fun. Love them. There's even a rap song where he turns into Rapula instead of Rockula.
Rapula.
And it's one of those songs where after you hear it, you're gonna hear it again, and you're gonna just listen to it again and again. You can't help it. It's catchy. It's really catchy. Yeah, and
maybe I will watch this.
It's definitely worth watching. I highly recommend it. Again, every 22 years, pirate kills his betrothed with a pig bone, and he fails to stop it. He tries every 22 years to stop this, and he never has had success, right? And this whole time, it's like he's been around for 300, 400 years, and he's been practicing music the whole time, so he's a really awesome musician. So this last time, he decides he's not going to try to save her, okay? Because then if he doesn't, he figures, well, then she'll live, right? Because then I won't mess up and whatever. But then he finds out, no, it'll be even worse for her because if you don't try and save her and she dies, that's it. She's not coming back in 22 years right? So he has no choice. And in this version, the bad guy is played by Thomas Dolby, 80s musician. His big hit song was She Blinded Me with Science. Great song. And he plays the villain. He's really good. And like I said, Bo Diddley's in it. It's a fun movie. It's just a really fun, silly, goofy, fun comedy movie. And it's the kind of silly, fun, funny comedy movie, cheesy comedy movie where they don't make these movies anymore. And they should be. They should be making tons of these movies for streaming. And they're not. But these were made to
unfortunately.
Really unfortunately, because everything is so cynical and hard-edged and, whatever. You can't just have a fun, silly movie about a rock and roll vampire who's a virgin who, in order to get the attention of the girl that he's got to save now that she's ignoring him, because he blew her off the one time, right? Because he thought it would save her and it wouldn't.
Is this a musical?
Yes.
Ugh.
They don't sing all the lines. They just have certain songs through the movie. Because he starts the band called Rockula, because his name's actually Ralph in the movie, which is also funny that he's a vampire named Ralph. He's kind of a pathetic vampire. He's not like scary and shit. Like he doesn't bite people. He drinks blood from the bloodmobile, right? Because he faints at the sight of fresh blood. Anyway,
that's really
that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of like funny, cool elements like that in the movie. So he starts the band, Rockula the band, with Bo Diddley, for God's sakes, to impress her, to get her attention and impress her, and of course it works. And we get a couple of great songs thrown in the meantime.
I would be down to watch it, but watching 80s musicals is like... Meh.
It's not a musical. It's a comedy that has movie-specific songs.
I know.
Because they're a band, but it's not a musical. He's not singing his lines throughout the movie.
Okay. And
they do have a really funny bit, too, in there where... which I thought was really, really cool, was where he can see his reflection, but his reflection is a separate personality from him, right? So, like, he argues with his own reflection, and and his reflection has his own motivations to do things, and he's tired of being trapped in the mirror, and blah, blah, blah. Really, really, pretty funny stuff. So, okay, we're over time again, because we can't ever do anything on time. So, but that is...
Rockula.
That is Rockula. That is a film you should check out on Tubi while you have the opportunity to stream it. Definitely want to watch it. It's very fun if you're in the mood for a fun, silly comedy. And something that you can watch over and over again and make fun of as you watch it, because there's a lot of fun stuff. So,
all right, I might watch it.
And big ups to Dean Cameron. Thank you for making fun movies that we still enjoy to this day. So just appreciate that. Not that Dean Cameron will ever hear me say that. But hey, hopefully he will someday.
What we try to do is we try to contact Dean Cameron to see if he'll be on like the next episode.
I doubt that would happen, but
you never know.
I doubt that he would say yes, but I would try it. But you know what? I think where Dean Cameron lives. I think he lives in Boise, Idaho.
No way.
It's called a callback. Anyway, because we were making fun of Boise.
I know, I get
before, and then Boise. All right. Plus, I had we got through almost this entire show. I didn't insult one municipality.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I did.
I know you did.
In
fact, you insulted several.
I will try to stop insulting people and countries and cities and states.
Thank you.
What does that leave for me to insult? Pets? Animals?
Puppets?
I can't insult puppets and cute things.
So now you agree puppets are cute?
I mean, Kermit the Frog is cute.
We'll see how you feel about this when Little Frank makes his
okay.
Makes his video debut. Anyway, all right, we're way over now.
Some puppets are creepy. Some puppets are cool.
Okay. Yeah, so we're way over. But that is going to be the second new podcast, but first episode of the show with the new name, which is actually the old name of the show that we were doing before that I was doing back in the days. The Frank the Unicorn radio program. And I'm just excited to be back.
Frank the Unicorn radio program.
No, that's not it. But thank you. But I am so excited to be back. Thank you for listening.
Can I make a cool, fun song?
Yeah, I already have one. We'll talk about it off the air. And then we will hopefully speak with or hear from or listen, or you guys will listen to us next week. So we'll be back next week with a new show on Friday. And we'll have more haiku for you, some other segments. And tune in then. Until then, check out the website. It's shaperart.com or franktheunicorn.com. Also, check out our other podcast, Not Another Real Estate Podcast.com.
Yay!
We're out.